Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about Hasbro. We're going to talk about the state of Hasbro and how it's not going to get any better. I've got bad news for you guys. If you're a toy collector, if you're a gamer and you're playing tabletop games, do not expect Hasbro to improve its quality anytime soon. This article was put out a couple days ago. And the CFO is basically saying that they're going through the company and they're looking to cut costs. And it sounds like not just staff, they're not just cutting costs and laying a bunch of people off, which we've talked about, but they're actually talking about cutting costs in manufacturing, that they're looking at competitors and they're like, oh, these people are making stuff cheaper than us. Let's do that.
Yeah, as if Hasbro wasn't cheap enough and people aren't complaining about their quality enough. Now they're going to lower their quality with cheaper things they're making it out of because their competitors are.
Yeah, so let's talk about this. And there's also another article out there talking about Chris Cox, the current CEO, how he literally said he wants to flip-flop Hasbro from being a toy and game company to a game company first that just happens to make toys. That is not a good sign. And we've been talking about this, that it seems like they're outsourcing more and more of their stuff. They do not seem like they want to be in the toy business anymore. So if you're a collector, beware. It's not going to get any better. Let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture, news, views, and rants. Guys, you get woohoo if you do.
Woohoo.
Not many woohoos coming from the collectors of Hasbro products.
The collectors for kids. I mean, the stuff is like getting made cheaper and cheaper, and for parents, the prices keep going up and up. And you know damn well, even if they find a way to make things cheaper to be like their competitors, they're going to keep the prices the same or raise them more and be like record profits, everyone, because they don't care about the consumer. They care about keeping their asses in the seats.
Yeah, that's what this is about. It's about record profits. And look, they're not doing good. Hasbro, its stock has been declining. They laid off like 1,100 people right before Christmas, including most of the Dungeons and Dragons staff, which was pretty surprising. But there have been rumors that Hasbro was going to outsource D&D books, tabletop. And I can see this happening because they said currently what they're doing is they're going through the company and they're looking for every way to save money possible. And this is damage control because, they're getting pummeled. So now investors want to know that Hasbro is going to make them money. So this is coming from the Wall Street Journal. Hasbro's CFO sharpens focus on cost savings as toy shoppers pull back.
Toy shoppers are pulling back because your stuff's too expensive.
That's exactly it. I mean, look, we did a video on the gaming channel. You can go out and look for that. We did a comparison of a $10 Hasbro Star Wars action figure compared to a $10 Playmates Ninja Turtles figure. And I'm sorry, the Hasbro figure is not worth $10. It's like a $5 toy.
But what gets me is, because they're going to be like, well, yeah, everything's too expensive. That's why we need to cut costs. It's like, but you're going to make stuff cheaper and junky.
Oh, yeah.
You've already been cheapifying everything to the place that the collector's been talking about it for years. You keep putting a decline in quality. The stuff is ending up at Ollie's. So now Ollie's is going to get a bunch more Hasbro shit because you're just going to send more shit to Ollie's because it's going to be junk. And then you're going to be like, well, we had to cut costs. Like, well, you're not going to win your people back that way.
I mean, the figures are literally falling apart. The Dungeons & Dragons figures especially, they're literally falling apart in the box. As people are taking the figures out, they're coming to them in pieces. I'm hearing about Transformers that were box Transformers, not with the windowed packaging, but the supposedly environmentally safe packaging. They've been missing pieces. The paint jobs have been sloppy. So they've been cutting costs. They've been cutting corners. Meanwhile, they're jacking up the price of a regular Transformer now. Like what used to be a $10 or $15 Transformer is like $25, $30.
It's ridiculous.
It's insane.
And they're like, why aren't people buying our stuff? I can tell you right now, you bring some of the quality back and you bring the prices into line with what they should be, and you're going to have more customers. The reason people aren't buying your stuff is because it's been shit.
Yeah.
Making it shittier isn't going to fix your problem.
No, but that's what they're going to do. They're saying right now, the CFO of Hasbro is telling you they're going to make things shittier to make more money. So this is the CFO. She said it's Getter. Her name is Gina Getter. She's taking a scythe to the costs in response to declining sales. This month, the company jacked up its 2025 cost savings goal to $750 million, roughly double the target announced 2 months ago.
Oh God, everything's going to be dog shit.
Yeah.
And they're saying, well, parents aren't buying their kids toys because of disposable income. Like, bullshit. Parents aren't buying their kids toys because your prices are too high. They're buying toys. They're just not buying your toys.
Yeah, and here's where it gets scary because it's like, oh, okay, they're just going to cut some costs. That's why they're laying people off. No, they're talking about production. So the company expects the savings to bolster profit, free up cash to reinvest in the business. Last year, Hasbro began reviewing the costs of the components in its toys and games. The company began in its games division, which includes Jenga, and will expand the effort to other product brands throughout 2024. We're not just talking about nickels and dimes, she said. We're talking about material moves that we can make on product costs.
So you can make it cheaper than you already did.
Yes.
I mean, that's what you're saying. You've already cheapened the hell out of it, cut corners everywhere you can, and raise prices. And that's what you're going to do again. You're going to make it cheaper and then probably keep the prices the same or raise them. That's basically what you're saying you're going to do.
Yeah, she says as much. She said
what the fuck the outcome do you think is going to be? How do you think it's going to be any different?
There's going to be more of this shit at Ollie's.
People are going to say, hey, people are already not buying it because it's too expensive and the quality's down. If you make it cheap as fuck and then keep the prices the same or raise them, they're not going to buy it even more. You're just throwing money away at this point. Yeah. This is, even if you cut costs, it's stupid. It's just downright stupid.
She said she pointed to the company's recent review of Nerf products, noting that the company analyzed everything from the thickness of the plastic.
That's why people like Nerf, because they don't break like the cheap ass. Okay, whatever.
Yeah, to the type of packaging, and compared those costs to competitors. At every step of the Nerf production process, the company found it was spending more than its rivals.
But the rivals don't cost as much, including Rival, which is a whole other joke. But anyway.
Yeah, but I'm like, people want the Nerf brand because it's like, oh, it's Nerf, it's good. People want Transformers, because they're like, oh, they're official Transformers, they're good. But I mean, it's pretty bad when Hasbro, even when they sell the collector Transformers, they have to put in the box, oh, guys, don't worry, this is the Takara version. It's not the shitty ass Hasbro version. This is the official Takara version of this Transformer.
Back to the Nerf things. Like, they have a lot of brand deals and stuff like that to sell Nerf. Are they examining that? Are they going to stop using the brand deals and stuff? And it's just going to be cheap ass. I mean, at that point, you're better just to buy the competitors' stuff anyway. Yeah. Because I guarantee you, we're going to work better than what the Hasbro is going to give you at this point.
Yep. This is Hasbro compiled a list. Now they're saying that it's not going to affect quality. I call bullshit on that because people have noticed in the last
the thickness of plastic.
Biggest complaint with the collector, quote unquote, collector lines right now is Transformers, especially. The plastic is cheap. They fall apart. But
it's not going to affect quality, but they're talking about how they make their stuff thicker because it's better quality. You expect better quality and you're paying for Nerf because Nerf ain't cheap. When you're paying for Nerf, you're paying you're supposedly for the quality. So you're going to thin the plastic, but there's going to be no change in quality. Like hell there isn't. I should go buy a couple pieces of Hasbro stuff now and then compare it to some stuff that we have like in a few months and just like the same kind of thing and see if we can find the differences. Well, I'm sure there's going to be a lot.
Let's just go back, 5 or 6 years and find some Hasbro toys from 5 or 6 years ago and compare them to what they're putting out now.
You're better to buy your kids' stuff online or garage sales at this point.
Buy older used stuff. It's going to hold up there. Like, God, look at this. So Hasbro compiled a list of 40 cost savings ideas from the Nerf review. If it adopts 8 of the largest ideas, it will save about $10 million, she said. Hasbro is also analyzing whether those ideas would harm the quality of its products. If the answer is no, we're making the change.
They don't care. Okay, since when has Hasbro cared about quality?
They don't care about quality.
But, okay, wait. So $10 million. That's not, I mean, in the grand scheme of things, that is not much. Okay, it's not going to save them much money. So at that point, here's an idea. You want to make that $10 million back? Keep your quality as it is or make it better. Yeah. And then turn around and make your price points lower so it's better for people. You're going to have more people buy your shit, which is going to probably be a lot more than $10 million. $10 million. All this, you're gonna cheapen stuff even further for a $10 million gain. I mean, in the grand scheme of everything and how much we're talking billions of dollars, $10 million is nothing. You can get that back easily if you just made quality products at a decent price point, and people would buy your stuff.
God, this is crazy. So yeah, they're saying they're cutting staff. They're cutting the workforce by 20% or 1,100 people. They did that right before Christmas again.
I know they can cut and save a lot of money, and they're at the top.
At the top, right?
This chick's one of them.
How many salaries would your salary pay? How many grunts could work? And people that actually make stuff. Hasbro's recent woes stem in part from them getting into entertainment with Entertainment One, which they sold off.
dumb.
I don't necessarily agree with that. Now, here's the thing. It seems like they're going out of their way to walk back everything Brian Goldner did, because Brian Goldner was the one that got them into movies and TV and stuff like that. But it could be argued pretty successfully that Brian Goldner kept a lot of the legacy brands relevant, because he was the one that was there when they did My Little Pony Friendship is Magic. He was the one that was there when they did the Transformers movies. As much as I didn't like them,
I
they
get that.
sold toys.
But Entertainment One was stupid. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. They could have licensed the stuff out to other companies and done deals with them. They had to make their own. And it was kind of a waste of money. It really was.
So they're talking about the losses, but she was in charge of Harley Davidson. She was the CFO there. She cut costs.
She cut costs.
She cut costs at
Harley's,
Tyson
guys.
Food. She started at General Mills. It's like, God.
They bring this woman in when they want to make stuff cheaper.
Yes.
And then the thing is the quality is still cheaper? Because here's the thing: your brands are worth something because they have a history of being quality product people love. If you start literally changing everything about a product people love, they're going to stop buying it, which is what's happening to Hasbro. Why do you think people aren't buying your stuff anymore? People are still buying toys. I can tell you that for sure. They aren't buying your stuff because it's made like shit and it's too expensive. And it's all at Ollie's. If you wait, you can go to Ollie's and get the same thing for a fraction of the cost.
Well, here it's interesting because, God, it's almost like we were right. It's almost like we were right. In her first year on the job, Hasbro slashed its inventory. The company ended 2023 with $332 million on its balance sheet, half of the $676 that they had in 2022. It did that in part by eliminating roughly half of its individual product types, whereas they account for 2% of annual revenue. So they shifted some of its less profitable brands like Easy Bake Oven and Fur World Friends to a licensed model. That means that they're going to license out a lot of the stuff that they don't think is a core brand for them, which we said they probably would do.
And you know what? The kicker is they'll probably be made better.
Basic
here's
Fun
idea.
stuff is actually pretty decent. Super 7 stuff is pretty decent.
I'm saying, like, finding people who do make like the Ninja Turtles and license your Star Wars to them, and you get decent figures for decent price.
Yeah, the Turtles figures, again, Playmates, they're in the business of making toys. That's what they do. And the Ninja Turtle figures for $10 are a way better value. They're built better. They come with more stuff. They're more fun to play with.
Well, I see them disappearing off the shelves way before I see the same Star Wars figures. They haven't been restocked at all at our Walmart.
Yeah.
Because nobody wants them.
Yeah.
I think the only one that I saw about moved was the one we bought. We just bought it just to do a video about the quality differences.
Yeah. And it's, because the Vader figure's like a $4 or $5 action figure, basically. I mean, but, $17 for a Stormtrooper. Are you freaking kidding me? $17 for an articulated Stormtrooper figure.
So here's what it's all about.
Games. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about, I was going to segue into this part about Chris Cox here. So they're saying that they're growing in games. They said that the company, meanwhile, is expanding a division that includes Magic the Gathering and digital games.
They're running that stuff into the ground already.
They are. I was watching a video the other day. I think it's Alpha Investments. I don't know. This guy covers Magic the Gathering, and he basically said that under Chris Cox, they have milked and destroyed the value of this brand. That they keep reprinting stuff.
You put a dick in charge.
You get milked. But he said that, compared to Pokemon, like Pokemon cards still hold their value. Pokemon hasn't changed its business model very much in the 30 years it's been around. But like Magic the Gathering has diluted its brand, and it basically was a short-term goal. And I think that's what Chris Cox endgame is basically short-term. I'm in here. I'm going to make as much money as I can, make a name for myself, and get the hell out.
Well, your name for yourself is not what you want it to be. When you put a dick in, you get screwed. That's a name for yourself. It's hard to invest in the growth segment while your toy business is pulling you down. Hasbro, you're a toy company.
Yes.
That's what you're known for.
Well,
your toys. You're trying to do something you don't really know what the fuck you're doing with, and you're trying to appeal to a bunch of people who scream on Twitter, and then you're like, I don't understand why we're not doing so hot. It's not that hard. It's not. Oh, my head hurts.
Yeah.
It looks like a little dick.
Your head hurts now.
Weenie.
This is coming from VentureBeat. They're doing damage control.
He's very punchable.
This he does look punchable. He looks like a dude bro that you'd want. But anyway, this is in VentureBeat. This was a couple of days ago. They're doing damage control, and they're talking about this. They're like, "Oh, Baldur's Gate 3 is doing good." I'm like, "You guys are taking credit for that. That was all Larian Studios. That had nothing to do with you.
No.
You licensed it to them. They were good at making role playing games anyway."
And then you turned around and got rid of the people you had that worked with
Yes.
on the game. So
Yes.
if you're going to double down on that and say, because Baldergate said, well, this is what we're going to pivot to that, then why the hell did you fire everyone that actually was the ones who worked with Larian to make it work in the first place? How does that even make sense?
So he said in this, they talk about it. He said the board games did well. We had Game of the Year with Twister Air and stuff. He said, generally speaking, it's the beating heart of Hasbro. Hasbro is known as a toy and game company.
Yes.
I want to invert that and say we're a game and toy company. And everything he talks about in this article is about games and video games, because this guy came from Microsoft, and the woman in charge of Wizards of the Coast now came from Microsoft. They want to turn and we said this, and everybody's like,
But listen, if you ask people what is Hasbro, they're going to tell you a toy company.
A toy company.
The normies don't know that Hasbro owns Magic the Gathering, all that shit. Most people don't even know that. So they're not going to be like, oh, when I think of games, I think of Hasbro. They're going to be like, oh, toys. They make toys.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. And it's going to take, if you're someone trying to save so much money, do you know how much money and effort it's going to take to change the mindset of the normies that you're a game company first over a toy company? If you just want to save $10 million by making stuff cheaper, you'd have to spend way more than that to try to change the perception. This is stupid. I love how you say cocks, because it's basically what he is, a giant cock.
Yeah, he's basically fucked Hasbro at this point. I mean, I'm sorry.
And the investors.
Yeah, and the investors.
And the parents, and the kids, and the collectors. Who hasn't he fucked?
There's no...
Probably his wife.
Ooh. There is no reason why Hasbro can't be as relevant today as it was in the 80s and 90s. And I know that kids don't play with toys as much as they used to, right? But they're not doing any innovation. They're not doing anything new. All they're doing is just regurgitating the same brands. The reason that their market is primarily adult collectors is because they're still chasing those brands that they had. And I think there's definitely a place for, Transformers, G.I. Joe, My Little Pony. I get that. But they're not making new things for kids because they don't care about kids. They don't care. They don't want to make toys for kids. They're like, oh, kids don't play with toys. No, they don't play with your toys because they're shitty.
What I'm hearing is
they're
where they're gonna cut corners is their stuff for kids. And it's gonna break, and they're gonna charge a premium price for a pile of shit. Parents, listen to me. Go to garage sales and get your kids' toys there, or go to Ollie's. Because you're gonna find all the Hasbro stuff there anyway, and it's gonna be way cheaper.
They're talking about having existing IP, unleashing existing IP, and they're talking about basically making games out of stuff that they own, because they own like everything. So Hasbro, this is another example of kind of like end stage or late stage capitalism.
We did a virtual Ouija board at Halloween for a couple days, and that was popular.
Yeah, they bought up all these toy companies. Like back in the day, we had Kenner and we had Parker Brothers and we had Milton Bradley was, I think, separate from Hasbro for a long time. And all these other toy companies, Tiger Electronics, and then Hasbro basically bought everything. They bought everything.
Hasbro had the money then, because they actually are making quality products people wanted. Not lately.
But now they're basically the Disney of toy companies. So they bought all this stuff. They don't know what to do with it. Occasionally they get lucky because somebody else knows what to do with it, like with Baldur's Gate, right? So they basically succeed in spite of themselves. But this guy wants to turn Hasbro into a video game company. And meanwhile, AAA studios are laying off because they're too big. They can't support the weight. Like, I don't know where he thinks this is going to end. I don't think he cares. I think he thinks about getting in, making his money, making a name for himself, and getting the hell out and going someplace else.
You better watch out being mean. Next thing you know, the Pinkertons are going to show up.
The Pinkertons? God, they've just destroyed any goodwill. Like, this is a company wearing the skin suit of Hasbro. Hasbro was the Hassenfeld brothers for years. There were lots of people there that were very innovative. They came up with all kinds of new ideas for years. And this is just, again, another corporation walking around with the skin suit on. They bought TSR, they bought Kenner, they bought
being it very agendified in a lot of things, which is turning people off. Now, if you still want Transformers-esque toys or Transformers, there's other places you can get them. Just FYI.
Yeah, so I actually have kind of pivoted. I still buy some Hasbro Transformers, but you can get third-party Transformers if you've got the wallet for it. Some of them are, pretty damn expensive, but there are some that are pretty reasonable, but they are much, much, much better quality than what Hasbro's putting out.
If you get the ones from Japan, much, much, much better quality than what Hasbro's putting out.
So I actually heard from someone who does the convention scene, the different Transformers conventions, and he was telling me that you go to a con anymore, a Transformers convention, and all the buzz is around the third-party toys, not the Hasbro versions.
Well, I know the Beast Box were the ones he really likes these. Recently, you started buying these up because they turn into
Yeah, these are
animals and
great. I
stuff.
love these. Beast Box,
And they
which
come in a little. You get a little square you can store them in, so you
Yeah.
can stack them, and they take up less room.
yeah, they're cool. It's kind of like, just imagine if you just had a large collection of Soundwaves tapes. You know, that's basically what they
Well,
are.
they're bigger than that.
They are, but I'm saying, like, if that was the whole line, like if you're like, okay, let's make a whole line of more tapes that turn into animals. It's this, except they turn into cubes, and you put them in the cubes and you can stack them up. Really cool lines. There are lots of alternatives out there, and I think that all these other toy companies are going to step up and take Hasbro's place. But yeah,
they're made better, and they're
Oh,
not
yeah.
that, and they're way less.
they are. So are we gonna wrap this up?
Yes.
All right, Hasbro. There you go. You signed your own death certificate, I think. But
I
good
can't
luck.
believe you're going to cut costs, make them cheaper even more. I just can't even wrap my head around. I'm like, you can't, how can you cheapen them anymore without just like putting parts in a box and saying it's IKEA toys? I don't understand how else you
That's
can make
basically
them
what they are
cheaper.
when you buy them. They're parts in the box. So, all right, we gonna wrap it up.
Yep.
All right, please subscribe. We'll talk later.
Bye.